it's a difficult thing. I get really emotional every time I talk about it.
Lots of emotion as we talk to teachers and parents demanding to be heard. The district now looking to close schools in Jeffco. How families can weigh in tonight.
Xcel says it is passing the higher cost of natural gas on to you, the customer, right as our temperatures begin to drop. We have ways to save a few bucks on your energy bill. And how the Broncos are filling a key role with running back Javonte Williams now out for the season, and Thursday's game fast approaching against the Colts. In fact, he wasn't the only injury. Broncos are a little banged up right now. Good Tuesday morning to you. I'm Brian Sanders.
And I'm Nicole Brady. Weather's looking nice for Thursday's game, and Lisa Hidalgo is here with a look outside. Today we might see a little more rain.
There could be, a little more this afternoon. Right now we're seeing what we had overnight clear up and out of here, so you're going to find some sunshine for the early morning drive and some really pretty conditions. As your kids are walking out the door, they'll want a sweatshirt, a light extra layer this morning. Upper 40s to near 50 at the bus stop here now, and then it looks like within the next few hours, by the time they're getting home, mid to upper 60s for highs today. So we have Denver at right around 68, Greeley 70, 50s to low 60s for the foothills. Really pretty quiet this afternoon. Now take a look at Futurecast. There will be a chance for a few showers popping up here this afternoon. So you may again see some damp to wet roadways today, and then overnight tonight, a few partly cloudy skies. Coming up, though, sunshine returns tomorrow, and we're going to see a lot of it throughout the afternoon on Wednesday and Thursday. So we'll have that full Broncos Thursday game forecast coming up.
How scary would this be? You're driving your little car, and you get into a crash with a semi, and it's right next to your door. And then you start scraping across the interstate. That's what happened here. This is the westbound side of I-76, right near Sheridan. The left lane is obviously blocked, but I'm sure that driver was really, really nervous that whole time. Take a look at the area. It's over here. I'll show you those drive times in just a second. We have a couple other big problems, including a big pothole that's in the westbound lanes of I-270 right there after Vasquez. Right lane's blocked, and they're worried about it being damage to the bridge deck, so that's why they're just not throwing some asphalt in there and then covering it up and letting you go. So I-70 is a better option to get over to I-25. Take a look at the camera here at 225 in Alameda. Now with the crash mostly off to the left side, a couple of cars left in here. All three lanes are open, but still a little bit slower than normal as they're doing some of the final cleanup there. But that drive time right now on I-76, as you can see, 35 minutes. So southbound 25, then head west on I-70, and that'll get you around it a lot faster.
Well, tonight, Jefferson County parents will have another chance to sound off on the district's plan to close 16 elementary schools.
The district says it really has no choice because enrollment has declined so much at those schools. But the decision will impact thousands of people. So this morning, we're going in depth, talking to community leaders, teachers, and the district. Denver 7's Brandon Richard kicks off our coverage from one of the schools that could soon be closed.
That's right, Nicole and Brian. One of those meetings will take place here at Mulham Elementary. Now, Jeffco district leaders say the meetings tonight are about giving parents and families an opportunity from those consolidating schools to get to know each other and build community. They say the meetings tonight are not a venue to debate the school closures. They say that will happen later. And as we've been telling you here over the last few weeks, some families are upset about these schools closing. Some argue it will disproportionately impact minority students. And now Wheat Ridge leaders joining them in opposing the closings. 3 of the schools slated to close are in Wheat Ridge. In a resolution last night, they urged the school board to vote no and want the district to come back with another plan. But district leaders say the closures are necessary because of declining enrollment. They say at some schools, there's only enough students to fill just one classroom per grade. And they say small schools lack resources like funding.
Our enrollment is just in a place where it continues to decline, and as we look to the future and the resources that we want to provide in our schools, consolidating, closing some schools was really the only way that we can get there.
And again, those 2 meetings, what the district is calling community conversations, scheduled for tonight. One at Peck Elementary starting at 5, the other here at Mulham Elementary starting at 6. About a dozen more of these meetings are scheduled throughout the month. And Jeffco district leaders say in late October, early November, they're going to be holding public hearings, and that's when these families and these communities can debate the school closures ahead of the school board vote November 10th. We're live in Lakewood this morning. Brandon Richard, Denver 7.
Yeah, and you point out, Richard, that Brandon, that parents are really worried about the schools that are being closed, and if they have more minority families there or poorer families who go there. So I checked, and actually on the schools that are slated for closure, an average of 52% of the kids at those schools are on free and reduced lunch. At some schools, it's as high as 90%, whereas district-wide, the average is about 28%. So there is definitely an imbalance there that parents may be asking about. And it's not just families, but teachers who are worried about the closures. They'll also have to reapply for their jobs next year. The president of Jeffco's Teachers Union told me the uncertainty is impacting teachers.
I think there's a really a feeling of angst, not knowing what next year is going to look like and not knowing where they're going to be next year, and whether or not they're going to be able to be at the school with their students. And I think that also causes some angst with the community and the students, not knowing which teachers are going to go to their new school with them and what familiar faces are going to be there.
Brooke Williams also told me they do not expect any changes to the current list of closures, but they do want to feel heard in the process. The board will make the final decision at its meeting on November 10th.
Turning now to the effects of Ian, economists are starting to project the cost of the widespread damage we've seen. Some estimate it could cause about $50 billion of damage to Florida alone, which you can understand by these images. Several more billion could be in South Carolina. That would make it one of the costliest natural disasters in recent history. And now the national economy could take a hit. A chief economist thinks Ian could bring down the gross domestic product by 1.7% to end the year, hitting a range of industries when they're already struggling with supply shortages and the war in Ukraine.
And the recovery will be the theme of President Biden's visit to the area tomorrow. He will pledge financial support.
He'll be on the ground as search and rescue crews are still finding victims and survivors in the rubble. ABC's Jay O'Brien has the latest.
Good morning. As Florida prepares for that visit from President Biden on Wednesday, search and rescue crews still have their work cut out for them. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says 1,900 rescues have been conducted so far, and other crews are going door to door, checking in on those who rode out this devastating storm. This morning, the number of people killed by Hurricane Ian now more than 100. Nearly a week after the storm first made landfall in southwest Florida as a powerful Category 4 hurricane, search and rescue operations are still underway.
There's more urban search and rescue teams in Florida now than in any one place in American history since September 11th.
Many of the rescue efforts focused on barrier islands like Sanibel and Pine Island, which had bridges and causeways destroyed in the storm and have been cut off from the mainland for days. And after Ian knocked out power to more than 2.6 million people, the state's largest utility company pledging to get electricity restored to most habitable homes by the end of the week. Some Floridians forced off the grid, just now learning of the devastation.
I just am now seeing pictures. I've had no internet, no cable, no nothing. So I'm just now taking a glimpse, and
I mean, what are you seeing? What is that like to see this area like this?
The state of Florida has also created a disaster relief fund to help those impacted by the hurricane. So far, officials say it's raised more than $21 million. Jay O'Brien, ABC News, Washington.
Denver 7 Gives is partnering with the Scripps Howard Fund for hurricane relief. You can make a donation by texting STORM to 50155, or you can scan the QR code on your screen right now. You can also visit denver7.com/hurricane relief. Well, the Broncos signed running back Latavius Murray for Thursday's game against the Colts.
Yeah.
That's good news, but the bad news is the reason for it. Javonte Williams is out for the season with a torn ACL. Defensive end Randy Gregory is also on the injured list with a knee injury from Sunday's loss to the Raiders. He's expected to miss 2 to 6 weeks of play. And taking a look at the full list here, you can see Russell Wilson is even injured right now. He has a right shoulder injury, but he is expected to play on Thursday.
Yeah, it makes it feel a little bit more of an uphill battle right now. So they're trying to muster up a way to bounce back quickly. Thursday's game is over on Denver 7. Our pregame coverage will start at 5 p.m. Kickoff against the Colts is just after 6 in prime time. And then stick with us for the big postgame show afterwards. Coming up, we know money is tight for everyone. How many Americans say they are stretched way too thin on everyday expenses and what they're doing to compensate for it?